What's going on, everybody? I hope you're all having a fantastic day today. Now, today, we're going to be going ahead and talking about Battlefield 2042. But instead of, obviously showing clips of this game, since I haven't been really playing it too much, I'm going to go ahead and show some Call of Duty 4, the original, actually, since I've been going ahead and live streaming these classic Call of Duty games much more often. I gotta say, I've been having an absolute blast. The other day I showed Black Ops 1, the day before that I showed Modern Warfare 2. All of these games are just so much fun to play, and everybody always says it's just nostalgia kicking in, but for me personally, they're just masterpieces. I loved them back in the day, and I could still play them just as long current day as well. But we are going to be checking out some Kill House gameplay, probably my favorite small map in the whole franchise. I know that's very debatable here because a lot of people do prefer Nuketown, but I think Kill House just has a beautiful touch to it that just feels so nice and fun, especially when you play in these large lobbies like this. Nothing feels better than picking up an M16, getting some stopping power on that bad boy, and just cross-mapping people 24/7. It's so addicting and so toxic. But if you guys do want to check out any of my gameplay, like you see right here, live and in action, go over to my Twitch streams. The link to that stuff is down in the description. I stream every single day besides Sundays, starting at 10 a.m. Eastern Time and ending around 4 p.m. And also my Twitter and Discord links are down there as well. But ladies and gentlemen, today we're going to be talking about something that I think is going to disappoint a lot of people in the community, and that is the communication between the developers and also the actual community itself. Now, I was scrolling through Reddit, and I actually saw a post here that, I'm going to be honest, it popped off quite a bit, and it doesn't look too good for the developer's side. Now, Linus Josephine put out a tweet saying, "Oh, by the way, feedback on Battlefield 2042 is quite misplaced with me. I don't work with that game. You may direct it to Part Welsh. He's very nice, so please promise to be nice to him." Yes, and also for those who don't know, Linus is the design director over at EA DICE. But under this tweet here, Freeman went ahead and responded saying, "I'm not engaged on Reddit anymore. There's no value in pretending it's a constructive environment." And again, for anybody who doesn't know Freeman or Part Welsh, he is the community manager over at EA DICE. Now, first off, just very quickly, I'm going to hop off topic here. I just thought this was very interesting, but Linus is not working on Battlefield 2042. That makes me very curious. Is he on a different project? Is he maybe on Battlefield Mobile? Or are they working on a future Battlefield game? I'm very curious to know what this man is working on right now, since, he is the director over at DICE, especially when it comes to Battlefield games. But, like I said, back to the main topic here. The community manager over at DICE just went ahead and said that they're going to basically cut a whole section of social media off of their list of, things that are legitimate constructive criticism. Now, of course, as we all know, scrolling through Reddit is probably not the most reliable source out there, so clearly I had to go back it up, I had to see what this was all about and see if this is legitimate here. And to be honest, it's been taken kind of out of context here, but at the end of the day, I still feel like the point is still the exact same. But this is basically how the tweet originated here. Paul put out a response saying, "Honest question, what's the proper forum to communicate with the community manager? He seems to be very quiet on Twitter nowadays and Reddit. What does a community manager at EA DICE actually do?" And then Freeman went ahead and responded to this tweet, not the original tweet. He responded to this one saying, "You can communicate with me directly here on Twitter. If you have the feelings you want to express, you might want to find a longer medium platform to do that and link me to it. If there's something confusing you, I can help to explain or break down. I'm always down to do that. If you're looking for me to give you insight about something that hasn't been shared prior, I don't do that. We are one team, and I represent all of that team. In that regard, we publish to the Battlefield website, at Battlefield, and at Battlefield.com. And then under that he says, "I'm not engaged on Reddit anymore. There's no value in pretending it's a constructive environment." He also went ahead and followed up that tweet with I think about 4 to 5 more tweets as well, which kind of described his point on this whole thing. He's not saying he's completely dismissing Reddit as a whole, but he's just saying it's extremely toxic because basically the community over there sent death threats his way and basically the developers' ways as well. Now, I do want to say, in absolutely no situation should you ever send a death threat to anybody. It doesn't matter if it's a developer, the community manager, your boss, your coworker, your family. It doesn't matter who they are. Nobody in the world deserves to get a death threat, no matter what their job is or what they're doing. I mean, maybe if they're a complete utter scum of the world, possibly, but I mean, the mass majority, no. There's absolutely no purpose for this. You can voice your opinions about something you despise or hate in a much different way. But at the end of the day, I feel like he handled this a little poorly. Now, I do respect him for coming out and, being open with this individual and discussing his points and being active with this topic instead of just being silent. We dealt with this same situation a lot of times in the past with different development teams. It's horrifying. So I'm very glad that he is very open with us right now. But I don't think the best way to answer this is by saying that hey, I'm getting death threats, so until those stop, I'm never going to look at the Reddit feedback ever again. I don't think that's the best way of going about things, and again, it's going to piss off a lot of people, especially on that platform, and Reddit is a pretty big chunk of the Battlefield 2042 platform. Yeah, there's a bunch of bad apples out there, but that's just what comes with the job. Anybody who comes into the social media space, even myself included, as a content creator, all the time, I can't tell you how many times I've gotten death threats just for pointless reasons, absolutely no reasons. The majority of the time of the people who are sending these death threats don't usually logically think about stuff, and they're just saying it, at the top of their head. They're not actually sitting there plotting your death or your downfall. Usually, they're extremely pissed off to the point they're just going to spew something out. You know what I'm saying? And taking the job as the community manager, it should just be second nature, I feel like, for you to be able to shrug off instances like this. Again, it's not fun to receive death threats because at the end of the day, yeah, you never know. It could be an actual psycho out there who is truly planning these horrible acts. You truly never know when it comes to this world, But my motto is if you haven't done something that seriously bad, then you shouldn't have to worry about something, that drastic. Unless you have done something that can truly change someone's life, then you're not really going to have to deal with something, being that serious. And yeah, they're pretty pissed off about, the return of Battlefield 2042 being pretty bad, but again, it's a game. They're probably going to wake up the next morning, they're going to go back to work, they're going to be going back to their regular life routine, and they're probably not going to remember, Battlefield 2042. It's just usually during the moment that they have these little, bursts. But at the end of the day, you are the community manager. And despite if the consumer is angry or extremely happy with the product, it's your job to, handle it no matter what. All I did my whole life was work customer service. I have dealt with some of the most pleasant customers in my whole life, and I've also seen the worst of the worst that you could possibly ever see in the whole world. But at the end of the day, you are being paid to do this job. And more than half of the time, when I am in these situations where I have to deal with these horrible customers, I have to think to myself that they aren't angry at me personally. It's always going to look like they're angry at you because technically, who else are they going to be, taking their anger out? The door, the desk? No, you're the person in front of them that's telling them the bad news. You are presenting them with the bad news. But at the end of the day, you have to understand, even though their anger's at you, when their day comes to an end and, they're finally calmed down and stuff like that, they're not going to be thinking about you. They're thinking about the company or whoever screwed them over personally. You have nothing to do with that. And same thing goes for the community manager of EA DICE. You aren't at fault, and even though these people are pissed off and they're sending death threats and they're being pissed off right now at you, they're not directing it at you, and even though it seems like it's coming at you, it truly is not. And again, I have to keep saying this, there's absolutely no excuses for death threats, but I feel like there's a lot more because again, he's the community manager. Like I said, if you go into anything that involves social media, you expect this type of stuff. I think it's just the overwhelmingly negative responses about Battlefield 2042 that's probably getting to his head a little bit, and I can understand it's probably really stressful when all you see every single time you log into, your social medias is nothing but negative feeds about how bad the game is that you have to, be the community manager for. It doesn't make anything easier for you for your day-to-day life. So again, I understand his frustrations, and as a guy who's only worked customer service jobs his whole life, I completely understand how hard it is, especially on your mental health, to be literally criticized, yelled at, and, just accused of something horrible on a daily basis when you have no fault and it's not your problem whatsoever. It hurts. It's not fun. But like I said, the best possible advice I can give is just accept that it's not your fault. Not even the developer's fault at a full. It really is just EA's horrible management. They lost a ton of developers, a lot of the OGs left, they hired a ton of new people. People had to start staying at home as well, and I know COVID, the COVID excuse this, COVID excuse that. For a lot of development teams, I don't really care about that excuse. I think at the end of the day, they should be able to still ship out a good product, but when you have a bunch of brand new developers, fresh out of school who have never been in the development field before, and they have to learn how to, make games at home, instead of being in the actual field with, mentors and people there who have been experienced, 10 plus years of experience backing them up and teaching them, instead of having to be home alone, it's a completely different experience. It's on EA. They should have postponed the game. They should have pushed it back, given the developers a lot more time, and they should have allowed a lot of the top dog content creators out there, influencers, or very hardcore Battlefield fans to come in and test out the game. Give them feedback, just like how Halo Infinite did, and they made one of the best Halo games in a long time, even though it has its fair share of problems. But I think the gameplay, everybody agrees, is pretty darn solid. It feels like a traditional Halo game with new specs to make it feel new, fresh, and unique, and that's all Battlefield was asking for. We wanted our old school style of gameplay, you know, we want something like Battlefield 3, Battlefield 4 vibes, but at the same time sprinkle some new stuff on it, make it fresh, unique. But they stripped all the vibes out of this game. Like I said, if they brought in some really hardcore players who have been really grinding out this game since the beginning of time, I feel like the atmosphere would have been 10 million times better. But again, the point I'm trying to make here is that it all comes down to EA. And I feel like a lot of people understand this because I see it all the time in my comment section. And I try to make it very clear here as well. If the developer do something bad, I will, obviously criticize the developers. But I always state it the exact same way on this channel all the time. EA, it is their fault. The developers needed way more time, it's obvious as day, and the game was rushed out, forced into production, and turned out to be what it is today. So as the community manager, just help the community. That's all you can do in times like this. Even the angriest of the angry people, all you have to do is just try to give them a little love back. You gotta fight anger with love, because at a certain point, they can't be angry at you no more if you give them too much love, you feel me? That's how you have to handle these situations here. Banishing full social media pages is just simply not the way, and again, like I said, it's gonna make people feel unwanted, feel like they're not part of the community, and once again, their voices aren't heard. Especially in a time like this, you do not want people to feel like their voices are unheard, because currently they already feel like they're unheard enough. But ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for checking out this video. If you enjoyed it, make sure to leave a like button. If you hate it, leave a dislike. Also, if you're brand new and enjoy the content, don't forget to subscribe and hit that notification button. Also, want to chat with me, there's two ways to do so. I have a Twitter and a Discord. Both those links are down in the description. And also, want to catch me live streams on video games over on Twitch. Link that is in the description as well. But guys, thank you so much for checking out this video. See you all in the next one. Peace out.